This episode is brought to you by Riverside FM. Have you ever considered recording audio and video in high studio quality right from the convenience of your home? Your answer is Riverside FM. The link in this episode's show note allows you to record and edit with an AI assistant for free.
Pause. Take a break. Reflect on life. Your moment of greatness starts now.
In this episode, we'll discuss how to become the ultimate version of ourselves, one day at a time. Helping us with this is an entrepreneur, a former accountant, podcaster, and a certified theta healer. Welcome to the show, Andrew. How are you doing?
Thanks, Toby. I'm doing great. I'm having a great day so far. How about you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing fine. Right now it's about 7:13 p.m. at this time of recording. So my day is, going towards an end, and I'm happy to crown the day up with this conversation that we're about to have. I'm doing good.
That's good. It's lunchtime here for me, and I've been looking forward to it since I got up this morning. I was really looking forward to our talks, so it's all good.
That's nice. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode for Soulful Conversation. And we're going to be talking a lot about, self-development, personal improvement, and your journey, especially your journey towards becoming a better version of yourself. But one thing that, came to my mind when I was preparing for this conversation was like, I would like to know at what point in Andrew's life that he decided to start becoming a better version of himself, that you decided to become the ultimate version of yourself. Like, what point was that for you?
I've always kind of had a 5-year plan of some kind. Back, you get out of school and you're like, okay, I'm 18. I think I'm going to go travel for a little bit. Then I'll go to university or get my degree or whatever. And that kind of becomes like your 5-year plan at that point. So there's nothing really formal. And I would do that over and over in different ways, not in a grand way, but like maybe I'd just look at my money and my finances and I'd want it to be a certain way. So I'd kind of look at that and work towards it. Becoming the best version of myself really became something that I looked at in the last couple of years. And I recognized that I kind of played small my whole life. And small is maybe not the right word. Safe is definitely the best word for it. So I looked at it and I thought, I'm playing safe and I'm going to get to a place in my life at some point where I look back and I'm going to go, I really should have gone for it. I really wish I had, kind of tried to grab the brass ring, as the expression goes. Or in my mind, I'm like, I really wish I had, fed myself the way I felt I deserved to eat. I really wish I had nourished my soul. I really wish I had done all these things. And I recognized that the only person stopping me was me, but I gave myself that permission to say, like, let's go for it. Let's take a step on this path and see where it leads, rather than let's just keep going through the hamster wheel and thinking that something's going to change, because nothing changes until you change. And that thought process, that thought is the first part of your change. It's going, I need to be this best version of myself. And I found that the more I do that, the more beautiful people I meet, like yourself. We were talking before the show started, and you're just wonderful.
Thank you.
But that's what's kind of happened since starting this part of my journey. I've learned about energy healing. I've healed myself. I've done all these different things, but the right people keep showing up at the right time, and it's really, really amazing. So. And that's kind of the reinforcement I get on a daily and weekly basis is, the right things are still happening. You're in the right direction. You're not having the hamster wheel anymore. And it's really nice and truly exciting.
Yeah, I really love that. Like, stop playing safe and then go for what you want to go for. Like, you deserve to pursue that big goals that you have set for yourself. You deserve to pursue whatever that you want to achieve in life.
Yeah, it's really
That's
really
good.
important to give yourself space to think about what you truly want your life to be. And I don't think a lot of us give ourselves permission to do that. So it's a great place to be, though, when you can kind of look at things and go, I always wish I was a painter or photographer or a business owner or whatever it, or like a uh, a better parent, even. All these things, when you have this idea, if that's in you, it's meant to come out of you so you can do that. And it's such a better life when you start living your life with this purpose rather than living your life by accident, which is, I think, how most of us kind of stumble into adulthood is we follow everybody else's plan thinking that it's the right thing. And then we get to that point where where I found myself, which was okay. I played the game, I won it, and there's no fireworks going off like in Super Mario Brothers. When you get to the castle at the end, you're gonna just, yeah, I don't know what to do. So that's when I gave myself permission to look at things and go, yes, do things the way that makes sense to you, and life will start reorganizing around it. And it was scary at first, I'm not gonna lie, but the path keeps unfolding, and it truly is remarkable how it happens.
Oh yes. Uh, When you were talking about your life journey, you talked about setting 5 year plans for yourself, like 5 year goals for yourself. Like I would just like to understand the principle behind that 5 year. I mean, I've heard it all my life. Like, oh, set 5 year plans. What do you see yourself in 5 years time, for example, or set a 5 year goal for yourself? Do you know where it originates from?
Originally, when I started out long, long time ago and hadn't given much thought to it, it was like it would be a very, very tactical goal. And that means like I want to have this much saved up by 5 years from now, or I want my mortgage to be paid off in 5 years. It was very, very this is the goal I want. This is the process I'm going to do to get there. Kind of like, I want to be able to run a marathon in 5 years. So whatever, every second month, I just need to get better at running that extra 2 mile, like an extra mile onto my run. And then 5 years time, I'll be able to run a marathon somewhat decently. I know it doesn't work like that, but you get the idea. So for
Yeah.
me, I could do those things, but I needed to see it differently. And what I did in my mind was I wrote out who I wanted to be in 5 years. And I stripped away, we call it the layers of life in our program, where you get out of if you can visualize it, it's like five circular rings that look like a target. And most of us spend time on that outside. That outside is the accolades, the accomplishments, the acknowledgments that we have from society and people and social media and all that stuff. But when you get to the core, which is where we get you to start, that's your soul. And when you start with your soul, you start to think, okay, what is this inside part of me? What is this yearning that I have that clearly hasn't been answered in the way that's meaningful to me yet? And when we do that, when we know what we want to do with our life as a soul level, then we can figure out the outer rings. And the next ring is how do we want to be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally? And then when you know how you want to show up in the world like that, then you'll start
Mm,
attracting the right people. And that'll be like your intimate relationships, your friendships, your community, all these things. And then when you know that, then from the next layer, the outer layer of that is the lifestyle you want to lead. So, maybe you don't want to work a 9 to 5 every day. Maybe you only want to work part time because you don't need a 2,000 square foot home, or maybe you're quite happy with a smaller place and a much simpler lifestyle because that means you have more free time, which is the thing you value over the money. Um, and then from there but you go back to your accomplishments on that outer ring. And
mm,
so what I did was when I could get clear on what my soul wanted and how I wanted to be, I visualized myself as this 5 year person from now. So he looks exactly the same. Hopefully he looks a lot younger by the time I get there. But when I visualize him and I think of him, he's my boss. And I am doing things to make sure he's taken care of. So rather than kind of, get there and not know what it's going to look like, I know that this person is very grounded. He's very happy. He's friendly. He's helping. He loves to write. He is helping people through his talks, his podcasts, his articles, all these things through
mm,
his healing work. all this stuff is incorporated into it. But I view him as this version of me that already exists, and he's just kind of calling me forward one day at a time. And
Mm.
every day I get up and I think about what actions can I do to help future Andrew become the best version I can imagine right now, but knowing that there's probably something way better than I can even think of, but just taking those steps. And that helps me on a lot of days to, to eat better, to be more active, to foster better relationships, to be present with the people that I'm speaking with at the time. It just helps me be a better person because that's how I want to be. Everybody else is very different for other people, of course, but that's how I do it. That's the concept is like that this person already exists in the future. And when you can get a clear vision of that person and see them as separate of you, you kind of can grow into that person a little bit more. It's kind of like being your own mentor in a way.
I like what you said, the illustration about, the 5 year, as in Andrew in 5 years' time is like your boss and you're working towards, satisfying or meeting those needs that he sets for
Yeah.
you. Yeah. And one thing that you said before that was, you talked about um, you knowing yourself, you know what your soul needs and what your soul wants. You could be a person that has to work a lot because because you want to live, a large life, maybe a large apartment, or you just want to have a simple life and you want to work part time and enjoy more of life. And I think we knowing ourselves in that way, from my understanding, is it's what defines our happiness. It's what helps us to know if we are truly happy. We've been aligned to what our soul needs.
Yes.
Gives us that true
It
happiness that we need.
absolutely that alignment is so vital. And I think uh so many of us get caught up in the rat race as we call it in North America, where you're trying to get to the end of work basically. And the greatest line I heard in the last week about that is like, well, even when you finish the rat race, you're still a rat. And I never thought of it like that. So maybe we change things around in our heads and we grow into this person instead, who's not defined by their possessions or these outside things, but knowing that on the inside, you are how you are meant to be. And you probably know. I think most of us have an idea who that person is, but we get busy. We have things that we maybe don't want to look at or just get around to because it might mean some scary changes, but you don't have to do them all in a day. You just go, you know what? Mia 5 years from now gets up and stretches every morning because they're flexible. Okay, so you get up and you stretch once tomorrow. And then maybe the next day you do a little more stretching because you can actually stretch a little more. Because the first day you stretch when you haven't stretched, I can attest it's not super easy.
Yeah.
But then you just kind of grow into it. And when you see yourself as a seed today, growing into this 5 year person, you can grow a little bit at a time. And you give yourself permission to grow at a pace that makes sense to you rather than feel
Mm.
like you have to do it all this year or this month or this week or whatever it is. That pressure that we put on ourselves to be further along than maybe we're meant to be or that we can actually handle puts a stress on us that creates more anxiety in our lives, more frustration. And in doing that, we stop because we can't hit our magical goal. So when you're able to kind of look at things and go, okay, I'm just improving. I'm not going to be Superman tomorrow. I'm going to be Andrew that might be able to, almost touch his toes when he's stretching. I can't, but most people, can do that. And I
Yeah.
want to be like that. I want to be able to get up 5 years from now and be strong and flexible. And that's a little thing I can do every day to work towards that.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.
Mm. Yeah, I can totally relate with that. Like, I think years ago, I had this picture of who I want to become, how I want to look like, and I mean physically. And I was like, what do I have to do to, to achieve this goal, basically? And I think it started with just one press up, one pull up, or something like that a day, and I increased it gradually, and now it's just becomes a part of myself,
Yeah.
basically. Like,
It becomes your
what I
identity.
do. Exactly. Yeah. And people, people ask you, oh, why you born? I mean, not born this way, but are you born with all these genes because you don't go to the gym and all of that? I was like, oh no, it's a very, very long journey
Exactly. Exactly.
of working up, yeah, of working up all those routines. And that leads me to my next question, because you talked about, like, we're having that 5 year image of ourselves or what we want to achieve in 5 years time. Like, for example, it could be towards our self-discovery, our growth, or even just becoming a better version of ourselves in any ramification. But sometimes, the journey does not seem easy. Like, we have to stay resilient in order to achieve those
Yeah.
goals or those milestones towards that time. So how do we stay strong? How do we stay resilient on the journey of becoming our future self or our better self?
That is a great question. Wow. So you're going to have, first of all, the road that you carve out isn't the road that you're going to take.
Mm,
That's just our ego brain right now, kind of going, oh, okay, so I'm going to do one push up today, two push ups tomorrow, and then by the time I get to year 5, I'll be doing 5 million push ups because that's how it works. And then
yeah.
by the end of week 1, you can't do any more push ups than you could the day before because your arms are hurting because you haven't given yourself a day to recover and rest. So
Mm,
when you hit those speed bumps, when you hit the fork in the road or the detour or the setback, those things are there for a reason. And first of all, you got to give yourself permission to take the step and sit down and go, okay, where am I going with this? Do I still want this? Because maybe, 5-year you recognize that 2 weeks in, doing push ups every day wasn't the right thing. Maybe there's something better that you're meant to do. Who knows? Um, but you're gonna hit some speed bumps. I hit a bad speed bump yesterday, and let's be honest here. I I cried because it sucked, and that is something that I wouldn't have done a few years ago. I wouldn't have felt my feelings like that. I would have just
mm,
buried them, and I allowed myself to feel upset. I allowed myself to reach out to my friends, and I gave myself some time off to do the things that I needed to do mentally and emotionally to just kind of to feel it. Because I stored all my emotions for years, for decades in my emotional garage, and now I just when I have a sadness or an angry or whatever, I just feel it. So I allowed myself to do that and kind of go, okay, this didn't go the way you wanted to. Question one, do you still want this, even though it's not going the way you think? And the answer was yes, I do. Okay, so give yourself time, grace, and space to reassess, to maybe see what you're not seeing right now because you were so focused on this one way. Maybe there's other ways that you can kind of look around and go, oh, you know what? The universe might be nudging me this way that I hadn't been paying attention to. And that maybe that's why this didn't happen the way I was so determined to make it happen. let's
mm,
let's be open and let's see if there's something better that I can't imagine right now that is definitely coming in. So when that happens and you hit those snags, just feel it, give yourself time to assess. Your 5-year you is still calling you forward. You just thought you had to go down this one path, and there might be a different path that you're meant to take. And when you know your soul's purpose, and you know what you're supposed to be doing, you kind of have to let go a little and go, okay, I don't understand it. I'm sure I will 5 years from now. So let's just take those steps and we'll see what happens and we'll just keep moving forward.
mm,
And for me, like that's kind of what I did yesterday. I looked at it and I'm like, no, I still want to do this. I really wish it had been this way because it would have been a lot faster, but this other way is clearly what I'm meant to take. And I've kind of learned too from what I do and how I help people. When I have these setbacks, and I'm upset about them, usually something within 24, 48 hours can appear. And it's, on how it can maybe move me forward or how it can help other people. And you asking that question is a perfect example of like what happens when you get set back. Well, guess what?
mm,
I just had a setback and I'm rolling with it. And, it's I think when you can kind of just check back in with your soul and go like, this is still right, and go, yeah, this is definitely the right path still. Just give yourself some permission to maybe make some changes onto how it is. Maybe you switch to sit-ups for a few days instead of push-ups, or maybe you just give yourself recovery days every third day and you're not doing 5,000 push-ups a day. Maybe you're only going to be doing 100 and that's going to be enough.
yeah.
Maybe it's not how you thought it was going to be, but that doesn't make it bad. In fact, it probably makes it better because you couldn't have imagined it from the state of mind you were when you were the seed creating this vision of you 5 years from now.
That's very, very true. Life has its way of, of humbling us.
Yes.
Like
Oh yeah.
you set your path straight, and you're like, oh, not maybe not straight. You set your path and say,
Yeah.
this is how it's going to go. I'm going to live the best life ever, and I'm going to do this and do this and do this. And life will just laugh at you, basically, and say,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, they just
no,
kind of universe likes to come in, whatever source people use, whatever term, but yeah, your future you is kind of going, it's not, it's really sweet that you thought it was going to be this way, but we got something better over here. So take a left and, just go that way. And you're like, but I wanted to go right. And they're like, yeah, no,
no.
no, we're blocking that road for you. You go left this time. And you just kind of got to shrug.
Yeah.
After a while, you start to go, oh, okay, this is better than you go through it, I guess, with the anticipation of like, this is going to be better than I expect. And that is really, really
Mm,
cool when that happens because you switch your mindset from going like, I'm being punished for not getting what I want to this mindset of, ooh, it's going to be better than I expected. And that is a
mm,
different, very, very different energy, very more optimistic, excited energy rather than dread and anxiety where you're like, I don't understand why it's not happening exactly how I planned it. It's just because there's something better coming. And I truly believe that. But I will say that yesterday when I was crying, I could not get to that spot and I had to let that emotion just come out so I could move forward. It's a normal thing to do. You're not supposed to
yeah,
feel
it
it
is.
right away. You just got to give yourself permission to keep moving forward, even if it's not as fast as you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it takes a lot of time or some time before you become optimistic, about the new path that the universe has set for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes some
it
time.
does.
And thank you so much for sharing the fact that you cried yesterday, because that's something, as as a man, also myself, I'm working on, feeling your feelings and really processing your emotions also. Like I can totally relate with that. In the past also, I'm similar. I would just like, yeah, just shove it under the carpet and try to be strong and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Like I said, I was never really good at doing it. And what ended up happening with me, my body started to like break down in ways because I hadn't dealt with a lot of the emotional stuff from my past. And now once you kinda go out and you clean out your emotional garage, the second you have something to put in there and your old habit shows up of like, "Oh, we'll just not deal with this and we'll just put it on the shelf." My proactive self is taking that box and going like, "Nope, we're dealing with this. We may not deal with it right this minute, but we're dealing with it within the next couple of hours or day, depending on what's going on." And
Mm,
I mean, let's call it what it is. Like feeling sad is not a great feeling. It's called feeling sad. But
mm,
I do remind myself when I have these hard moments, maybe this will help you and your listeners. that when you are doing that, when you're feeling your feelings, you have to feel sadness to feel happy. There's a contrast, there's a duality to this existence that we have. And
Mm,
it doesn't mean that for you to feel amazing that you have to feel the depths of awful, but those contrasts are what make the feeling better, the feeling, the joy, the love, the happiness, the excitement. That's what makes those things feel so much better when you have them. And if you were always just feeling excited, you would get numb to it for a while, or after a while, I should say. And that's quite a it's kind of sad when you think about it, but you need to have those downs to truly appreciate the highs and the excitements and the good times. Otherwise, it would all just be a good time, and it would get boring. If you eat lobster every day, eventually it's not going to taste like anything because you just get used to
yeah, that's true. You're preaching, Andrew.
it. Go ahead.
that's, that's awesome. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to experience the lows to really appreciate the highs,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something that we just have to go through in life.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
you don't have to go through it alone. You can ask for help. You can reach out to people. I have never had somebody reach out to me and say I'm having a hard time and me say, I really don't want to deal with that. I always embrace it because, we're all in this journey together of growth. And when we can help other people, we learn more about ourselves, and it really helps to help other people. It's like it's one of the best things you can do for yourself is to help others.
That's very true. And that's why I want to ask you this next question, Andrew. I want you to help me with my money routine. And I got to find out that you have this micro money
We
magic.
do, yeah. So um
Yeah.
when I was shifting everything around, I decided that I had these good goals. Like I wanted to meditate for an hour. I wanted to do my little exercise, my stretching routine, and all this
Mm,
stuff. And at first I did it. Uh I was not good at it. I couldn't sat down to meditate and I couldn't do more than like a couple of minutes. um, my half hour stretching routine never happened because like I said, I could barely touch toes, and it just fell apart. So I thought, you know what? Let's strip it down to something much more straightforward and simple, which is to give myself 5 quick wins in a morning, whatever those might be. So I took it all out and then I made myself this micro morning routine and I made it flexible. So if I wanted to keep going with something, I could. So for me, I put meditation in there, stretching, water, and a couple of other things. And I would get up and I would do this routine. And I noticed that my mindset got better because I had already accomplished these things that helped me start my day. But it also it's kind of like making your bed in the morning. You feel better with it. So
mm,
we created micro morning magic for to help people start their days off right. It's completely free,
mm,
and it's a really nice way to just start moving towards your future self in a meaningful, purposeful way.
mm. Yeah, 5 wins. So, what were like your 5 wins this morning, if I may ask?
What are my 5 points this morning?
Yeah.
This morning I get up now, and first thing I do is I get up when the alarm goes off. I try not to have an alarm, but I do, and very rarely will it go off. But my son was over last night and we watched the hockey game, and I was up a little bit later than I needed to be. Um, and again, it has to be adaptable. So I'll get up, I'll meditate for anywhere from 1 minute to an hour, depending on what my timeline is. Then I will get I have a new little Nespresso machine. I make myself an espresso and I go outside and I get some sun. And while my espresso is brewing, I give myself a glass of water because I always like to kind of flush things out. And then I sit in the sun for a few minutes and I just experience gratitude. I think about my day. I think about people I'm grateful for. I just kind of amp my energy up. And then after that, I do a little bit of stretching and kind of just um, check in with my kids, and that's really my 5 main things. I mean, there's probably a little bit more than that, but it kind of just grows as you go along because once you get in the habit of doing
Mm,
one thing, you can do several more quite easy. So it's nice. it's nice to have that routine that you can change as you go along.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I got to find out that you have like a form that people can download, like the micro money magic. So I'll place a link in the show notes of this episode for anyone who needs to use it in the morning to help them start their day right.
Yeah.
That could be a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really really nice. We actually just started doing a new email that you can get, and it's once a day, and it's an email from your future self.
Mm.
And so every day you get just a little quick kind of 100-word note from yourself in the future, encouraging you on, and it comes for free every Monday through Friday to just help you start the day off right and propel you forward in your day.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that, like you have the button of 5 year
Yep.
you, then you have the get email or something like
Yeah,
that.
if you
Yeah.
go to 5yearyou.com/future, you can get that as well. It's if you sign up for Micro Morning Magic too, you get it. They'll start getting those too. But it's I'm really enjoying them. I like getting them in the morning. I read them. I'm like, oh, that's good. I really I love the little morning encouragement notes, and it's a great reminder to keep you on your track, on your path, and to remind you that it may not always go. Sometimes you got to go left when you were really wanting to go right, and that's a nice thing.
Mm, that's true. We all need encouragement. Like even the strongest of people out there still need encouragement, I
I
believe.
think so. I think we're all human. We all have our ups and downs, and we all can use a little encouragement every day.
Yes, that's true. So, Andrew, I'd just like to ask you this. I mean, for someone out there who is probably right now experiencing some form of depression or whatnot, how would you advise such a person at this moment?
Well, I've gone through that myself. First of all, I think part of when you're going through depression or anxiety, um, there are things at play that you may need to deal with, and seeking professional medical help is always my first step of advice. The next thing that happens is um, it comes to yourself. When you're trying to change yourself, the first step is awareness, I always say. And when you become aware of, that you might be depressed or you might not be feeling the way you would like to feel, the next step is just to bring that awareness and take that first step. And maybe it's just getting more fresh air. Maybe it's just going for a walk in nature. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend. Maybe it's just making that doctor's appointment and talking to a professional. When I went, again, I try to be as open and honest as possible about all my experiences because I feel that it helps people. So I struggled with this for like 30 years and I didn't talk to anybody about it. I was so afraid. I was afraid that honestly, I was afraid that I was going to share this information with a doctor and they're going to lock me away right away because I wasn't supposed to have thoughts like this. And it wasn't a rational thought, but it was a fear thought from a teenage kid who was struggling to understand the world and didn't know what to do. So when I went to my doctor and I spoke with him, I said, like, I think I might be depressed. And he's like, are you having like dark thoughts? And I said, well, what are dark thoughts? And he gave me kind of, three or four. I'm like, yeah, I'm having all of those. And he's like, oh, he's like, okay, well, that's not normal. And I'm like, really? And I knew that it wasn't, but when you live with it for so long, you just don't know what that's like.
Mm,
So, what he did was he gave me some medication to go on. He gave me two choices. He gave me a pharmaceutical and a natural one. And I took the pharmaceutical, and 18 months later, I'm off of them. And coming off them was a little rough, but I still have these moments where I'm walking around right now and I'm going, I can't believe how different my life is now from then because walking around with depression on is like walking around with a gorilla on your back. It's really hard and you don't know if anybody else can see the gorilla and nobody really understands. But the first thing you need to do is find a professional to talk about with them. There's a bunch of other things you can do. One of the things I found for myself, and this isn't medical advice or anything like that. This is just what I did.
mm,
I really started to look at what causes this inside of me, and part of it, there is genetics can play a factor in this. But then there are also like beliefs. There is foods that might cause inflammation that you might want to look at. So when I knew I was going to start coming off of my medication, I really started to implement all these other things to make sure that the dip, like the transition off, wasn't too bad. So I changed my diet. I changed my exercise routine. I started more of an exercise routine, I should say. Wasn't doing too much before, but um, a lot of this stuff apparently resides in the gut. I'm not a doctor, but a lot of the stuff I've been reading is like all your gut biome really does affect your mental state and your mood. So taking those steps to just, first of all, seek the medical help that you you need. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. We want you in this world, and we want you in this world in a way that you know that you want to feel. And I don't think most of us want to feel depressed. We just get so used to it that we kind of don't know that there's a different way. And I'm here on the other end saying there is a different way. It's a journey. But 5 years from now, would you rather have taken that journey and got through it in a way that changes you for the better, or would you rather just stay the way you are? And if you're hearing this, I imagine that you're probably that person that's like, no, I want to change. I just need that encouragement. So I hope you're getting that right now.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Andrew. Seek for the help that you need and look into other things, look into the diet and the limiting beliefs that one could be having,
Yeah.
or whatever unhealthy energy that could be around that one could ease ourselves from also could go a long way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Thank you so much. I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I know people out there will still have more questions to ask you. So, what's the best place or the best way to connect with you, work with you, or maybe get to know more of your work?
Yeah, I mean, we're on social media, 5-Year U. But the best way is the website. Go to 5yearu.com and we have a contact us page. There's coaching and whatnot that we do. And just the easiest way is just to send an email to hello@5yearu.com. And it's all spelled with the words FIVE year YOU.com to just reach out. And we respond. I work with my partner, Catherine, but you just send us an email and we happily reply to you. And we want to help you get to the best version of yourself. And it's what I'm here on earth to do. So I look forward to helping.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Once again, the links will be in the show notes of this episode. I encourage everyone out there to click on the links, copy the links, and reach out to Andrew and get the best out of your life right now. Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate this.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you for having me on. I really loved our talk.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye. Bye.